April Surprise was claimed in '99, and he went on to win 7 races for them.
April Surprise still in front of the 16th by a length and a half to 2, and is clear of Evening News, and no stopping April Surprise. She wins well.
Then there's the story of Halenator. Northwest fans surely remember her tremendous winning streak. In 2002, the Spooners went to Jerry Wood's farm to look at a delineator filly out of 15 Halos, a mare they'd raced.
So we went down there, and I went to walk up to her, and she wouldn't let me touch her, and she was just kind of real narrow and skinny, and I was like, ugh. And so I said, well, do you have some place where you can just turn her out so we can see her move? He said, sure. So they turned her out in the paddock, and when she took off, I mean, she was just a gorgeous mover. She just floated, and I said, gosh, I said, you know, I guess we're the crazy ones. I said, because we'll buy her.
Well, one thing was we knew she was a handful because Stormy and Robin Hall had her, and Stormy goes, this was the toughest horse I've ever had to break. Dan just took a lot of time with her and the expertise. I mean, he just kept working with her and working with her. So, I mean, it was with anybody but Dan. Well, there's other trainers too, but I mean, Dan's what made her really.
Early in '05, they were in a bit of a jam with Halenator, 1 win in 10 starts.
I told Dan, I said, you know what, Dan? I said, let's just run her in a 4,000 never won 2. And he goes, can't do that. He said, she's worth a lot more than that. And I said, Dan, look at her form. It looks like crap. Nobody's going to take her.
That was the start of a record streak of wins.
And she started at 4, and then she ended up winning Bell Roberts, and she ended up winning 8 that year, and straight. And it basically was confidence. I mean, all she wanted to do is run to the front. She was put in the right spots, and that year that division was fairly soft. So I mean, it was amazing she did it.
Every time she was making a jump up, and she was running a different distance, and every time she was going a little bit further.
8 straight victories at 7 different distances. The Bell Roberts capped off the season, and it was an emotional winner's circle.
Everything that we had gone through to get her to this point, to have her actually win the Bell Roberts and to be able to run that far was, you know, was really rewarding.
The next spring, Halenator set a Washington State record by winning her 9th consecutive start. After the streak ended, Halenator seemed to lose her mental edge.
I know people wouldn't believe you that saying that she didn't have any problems. She really didn't. She was an iron horse.
The Spooners have become a big part of racing at Emerald Downs. They love the track and don't mind telling everyone.
The food is, I think, exceptional. I mean, they got tremendous soups, and they got reasonable prices considering these other sporting events, and they're there to help you. That's one thing about that. And if you go into their restrooms, they're spotless. And I've always heard that a place is, if you walk into a person's restroom at any restaurant or a place, is if they're spotless, it's a clean restaurant.
It's just a beautiful track. And I'm really proud of Emerald for the amount of people that they get there. And when you win in the winner's circle, you got a nice group of people around there. And to really, I mean, racing the horses is part of it. But seeing all the people there and having fun, it's a great atmosphere. And like I say, the barns are probably the nicest barns we've ever seen, but that's probably also for the fact that, you know, we're a newer track. Most of these tracks have been around forever. You know, they keep the front sides up because that's what the public see, but they kind of forget about the barns, and that's where the horsemen and the horses live. And, you know, for Emerald, kudos to Emerald Downs, because the barn area is always very nice too. You know, and all that is important to us. It's not just about, you know, the racing and the front side and the betting, which is fun, but, you know, it's the backside, and Emerald does a great job. It's beautiful.
They gel together as a couple, in business and with the horses and racing.
Tim is a tremendous handicapper. He's a very good handicapper, and I always say, to be good in claiming, you have to be a good handicapper. Same thing in farming. Tim's a phenomenal farmer. He's got a passion. I think what helps in horse racing and farming both, he has a passion for both of them. Tim is a phenomenal farmer. Strawberries are very, very difficult to raise. You've always got to be looking ahead and planting more. And Tim has great foresight on the berries, on how many we need. But just a phenomenal farmer. Of course, he says a lot of it's because of the dog, because every day, 24 days 24/7, 365 days a year. The dog gets him up every morning to go to the farm.
One thing that really helps me out is her perfectionism. She takes care of all the bookwork as far as the horses goes, and it becomes a nightmare at times, and she never complains about any of that. There's certain things that you got to be detailed on, and I admit I'm not one of those type, and so that really helps pick up part that I don't do as far as that goes. And financially, we work together, and that's been great on that end of it.
Sue currently serves as a board member for the Washington HBPA.
By and large, Sue and her husband Tim are both committed to this industry, both committed to the state of Washington. Sue's done a number of things, thinking outside the box for us, coming up with ideas that provide us with opportunities maybe to entice people to come back. We're going to try and think about maybe some changes to the bedding situation through Sue's leadership and innovation, as well as great cooperation and insight on the board for things that make our industry here in Washington work.
They annually cater a track get-together at the Markle Barn. It's become a season highlight.
The party flows. You don't have, that's all they're there for is horses, and so everybody's got a nice common ground, and so there's a lot to discuss, and so that's one reason. And people like the handicapping, and they talk to their friends and vets, and then there's a lot of talk about the sale, because the sale's the next day, and ask how the sales you think's going to go, and are you interested in horses? So the common denominator of the horse is a very big part of that.
Hard work has allowed Tim and Sue to enjoy their avocation of racing at Emerald Downs. It puts smiles on their faces, like when Taif won on Mile Day last summer.
This is our fun. This is what we like to do. Our love is the horses. We love running at Emerald Downs. We've gotten into breeding and raising some of our own, and this is where we've met some just incredible people, is through the horse racing. So we work hard during the summer, or Tim works hard year-round raising the berries, but this is what we do. This is our fun.
Fun and fruitful. The Spooners are number 3 all-time at Emerald Downs in the 2 most important categories for owners. Tim and Sue Spooner, successful and popular, preserving their spot in Emerald Downs history.